Graphics cards come in Mini-ITX now. That I don't understand. I guess it just means it's small. Let's just tear into this with our hands. I'm going to be building a system with this, and I'm going to be using the MSI Z87I gaming motherboard. So what I'm going to do in this video is unbox two of them, show you guys what they are, and then in the second video I will put them together and do like a full review with an i5 4670 non-K, because I'm not overclocking it. It's going into a tiny leanly system. But first, this. Come out of there. Am I supposed to show you guys the back? I'm terrible at unboxings, but I do want to give you guys a tour of this. There's the back of it. It's got all kinds of stuff on it. I don't like unboxings at all.
Read the box yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you should read it right now.
Just tiny letters.
Hey, we got an axial fan. Yeah, and it's in the shape of a rose. It's an axial rose. Oh, there's stuff in here. Let me open it up. And we have, first off, VGA to DVI to VGA to DVI. And then this is, what is this crap? Mini DisplayPort to regular size DisplayPort. And then we have one 6-pin PCI Express to 8-pin PCI Express Voodoo Magic. We have some drivers for this. Go download the new ones. We have the user's guide with all of this. Yep, it's in every language except for the one that you speak. Probably. Foam. Ooh. This is going to be good for, you can use this to insulate. All right. Hey, that is a Mini-ITX graphics card. Open. Cannot wait to test this thing out. I'm gonna be dangerous. Oh, that was awesome. All right, so there you have it. It just requires one 8-pin power. Come off of there. There's the MSI Dragon. And there's our axial fan. On the back, we have, let's just take it off, dual link DVI, and that's going to be our HDMI. And then we have two mini display ports there. Now you can get a really good look at them. And then we have our, vent out the back. It's nice. We got a plate on the back, and that might do something for the the heat dissipation. Maybe just a tiny bit. But it's also going to be mainly for rigidity. It's going to provide rigidity, and it's also going to hold this nice heatsink on there. It's an interesting heatsink design, but again, we'll get into that in the video when we're doing the build. We got a lot of fins and a lot of just metal on this heatsink. It's really going to help pull the heat away. Now they've got a different type of fan here. It's sort of an impeller blower all in one, or they call it the Radax fan. Here's how they've mixed blower with impeller. Now it's going to blow down, but there's also little teeth or whatever right there that's going to also blow the air outward. So we're blowing down and we're blowing outward. And then the heatsink beneath that is sort of a spiral design heatsink. Let's go through the specifications. It's a 256-bit card, that's the memory interface, and we have 2 gigabytes of GDDR5, and that's clocked at just over 6008 megahertz. We have 3 different core clock speeds. We have the standard silent mode, I guess we'll silent mode, and it runs at 980 with a boost clock of 1033. You can run it on gaming mode, which is 1006 megahertz, and the boost clock goes up to 1072. Or you can run it in OC mode, which is 1033 with a boost clock of 1098. And of course, there's MSI Afterburner if you want to go, even farther. It'll support 2560 by 1600. And the dimensions of the card are 170 by 120 by 35 millimeters, and it weighs 580 grams. As far as SLI support goes, yes, you can run 3 of these in a system together. The card supports DirectX 11.2 and OpenGL 4.3. In the box for the motherboard, we've got the "I'm sorry, I'm busy, put it on your door and people will leave you alone." We have a quick start guide in a bunch of different languages. We have a couple driver CDs for the motherboard. Be good if you don't have internet connection and can't download the newest ones. We have the I/O backplate. It's padded and shielded. Then we have the biggest case badge I've ever seen in my life that says Gaming G Series. I think someone said, "Hey, make me a badge," and then they were like, "You mean like a sheriff's badge?" And they made this huge badge. So it's just massive. We have 2 SATA cables, and then we have our 2 Wi-Fi antennas. Let's take a proper tour, shall we? Now, here's the CPU, of course, as well. That's USB audio, but yeah, USB audio power. That makes sure that all your audio, or I guess all the USB in the back, is getting 5 volts, and that can be really handy for DACs and just anything that needs, you know, constant 5 volts. Make sure there's no droop if you have too many things plugged in, so that's kind of cool. There's your 16-speed PCI Express socket, and then down here we have a clear Cmos jumper. Getting old school there. There's also a button on the back, so no need to worry about that. This is a chassis intrusion connector right there. And what this does, you plug this in when someone, you know, breaks into your case. This will come disconnected. It will shut down your system, and it will also log this. So it'll make a log of that. Over here we got the audio boost, and this actually has a headphone amp on board. So we've got all the, you know, everything on here is like, you know, military grade class 4. So we got some really high quality stuff going on around here. There's your front panel audio there. Power phases all under this small heatsink with their styling on it. But I want to note that the headphone amp here will support 600 ohm headphones. Oh my goodness. That was awful. Alright, 8-pin power right there. Front panel connectors. And yeah, that's there, that USB. And then we've got 5 of these SATA. There's one more SATA on the back, and these are all 6 gigabit per second. And moving on over here, we've got our CPU fan, and there's only one system fan header, but they're both 4-pin. And then right there, that is your TPM Trusted Platform Module connector. And if you know what that is and you need it, there it is. This is a 1-speed, or it can be a 1-speed PCI Express. Right now there's an Intel wireless AC module plugged in. Got 2 radios there. Yay! 5 gigahertz, you know, and they're both plugged up in the back. We also have 2 RAM slots that'll support 3000 megahertz. DDR3 up to 3000, and who knows what you could do with overclocking. And of course there's your 24-pin power for your motherboard. All right, look around here. Everything is, you know, decent quality, high quality stuff here. Super ferrite chokes, delivering you know, decent power to the motherboard. And remember, it's more the quality of the components and not the number of phases. So I mean, even with just a few phases going to your CPU, you still should be just fine as long as it's all high quality stuff here. And this is all decent quality stuff, so we should be able to get a little bit of overclocking if we wanted to. The one thing I will note that is a bit of a drawback is the fact that, as you can see here, the CPU socket, there's the screws for it right there, is very close to the PCI Express expansion slot. Ideally, this would be nice if they switch this around. I know it would be a little bit difficult, but I've seen some motherboards where they put the CPU socket up in this area here and then move everything else over here, and that will give you more room to mount a you know, CPU cooler on here. You'll still be able to mount, you know, anything that doesn't extend over. Tower cooling units that have, you know, wide edges are not going to work. For the most part, water cooling is going to work. It'll sit right on there and be just fine. And a lot of the smaller cooling units, as well as the stock cooling units, will work just fine right there. There's also a lot of software that comes with this. Some of it looks pretty handy. There's some really nice software that lets you take full control of the fans, but we'll take a look at the software once we get the system put together. Now let's turn around and look at the back. Over here we got all of our audio connection stuff. There's that killer NIC, and we have 4 USB 3.0 ports, eSATA there, and we have our 2 antennas for the wireless AC that's on board, DVI, HDMI, and DisplayPort all right in here. And we also have SPDIF, that's an optical audio output, so that's the best way to deal with external speakers. Normally this would look just like a PS2 combo and then 2 more USB 2.0s, but this is all highly tuned for gaming devices that have high polling rates. So if you're going to be plugging in a gaming device or a mouse or keyboard that has a polling rate greater than 100, just use this. I'm not exactly sure if the technology really makes that much of a difference or not, but I'll be plugging my mouse and keyboard in right there, and it's kind of cool to have, and then I'll test it out once we get into Windows. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Clear Cmos button right there. You know what, if your friend has an awesome overclock, just sneak over to his, you know, his system and just press this. I'll be doing an i5 build and playing with this graphics card and the motherboard as soon as the SFX power supply comes in. That's literally all I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the UPS guy to drive through the freaking snow and bring it to me. And then you guys will get a more in-depth look. But, you know, for now, I just wanted to show you guys what they were, and especially wanted to show you the size of the 760 ITX. If you guys have questions, click on the link on the screen. It'll take you to our forum where you guys can say whatever the hell you want. Don't post things on YouTube. Nobody reads that anymore. It's swill. We will see you next time. Who's we?